please ask please ask questions. If you have any questions, just please ask them as we go through. I might go on a stray because I start talking and sometimes I get ahead of the slides. So, but please stop me whenever you have a question, okay? So this is the new Data Stewards 2526. Important thing for you to remember is this is our email, nde.servicedesk@nebraska.gov. Keep that next to you. This is, some people have an older email, but this is the accurate one, and it will be guaranteed to get into our system, and then we'll get your tickets. We, at this time, are about a few days behind with our tickets, but we're getting through them as fast as we can, and we'll answer you as soon as we can. And then, let me go over here. So we're just going to kind of look at a variety of different things, kind of like what kind of data and who reports it, the different portals, because we're in this transition of the different portals right now. We have, like student data that we collect, and then we have financial data that we have collected too. So some people are responsible for just one section, and some people are responsible for other sections, and some people have to report all of it. So we're just going to kind of go over a variety of things. Um, so that's what that slide is, our agenda. Then we're going to talk about right now where the data belongs. So the student data is basically the student and the aggregated level, and it's program data. So you're basically going to tell us information about the student. And the staff data is going to be like their certificates and um, how long they worked there and their let's see, their education that they have at this time. So it's just kind of used within NDE for a variety of reasons. So the staff data is a lot of that is collected in the staff reporting, which is what Kim was talking about. That's going to be due September 15th. And we have a lot of different systems that go into that system. I should say sync to that system to get data and pull it out. So it's very important to have that updated by the end of October so that your information is accurate, because that's where your GMS is going to pull all their system information out of there for their staff reporting and things like that. So it's tied to a lot of different things. Staying with the
I'm
student
sorry,
data.
will
Yeah.
you tell me what GMS is?
GMS is a financial program that the
Okay.
NDE finance department uses.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, great. Stop me just like that, because we have a lot of acronyms in this world, and some mean one things to other people and different to others. So yes. So this data is used for like state and federal reporting, state accountability. And the reason we have to collect it is a lot of it is based on regulations, like in finances, is the reason why we have to collect this information. Who reports the information? It should be a team. Should not just be one person that is looking and reporting the information. So it's good to work with your SPED directors, your counselors, your principals, your superintendent. Honestly, when I was in the district, I worked closely with the SPED director and the counselors, and maybe they didn't have access to like some verification reports. I would print it off, or I'd export it out, and I say, can you look at this and make sure it's right? Because I don't know everything about the counselors and the courses and what should be reported right. So a curriculum director was another one that I worked with. So it's really good. I might be responsible of submitting the information, but you don't know everything. So it's good to reach out to your teammates and have them review it and work together as a team. And there is different times of the year where the district administrator will do an approval. So we have it the fall, which is going to basically you'll hear membership date, and that means it's a snapshot in time on this one specific day in October that we're just taking a snapshot of what everything looks like. And so that would need a sign off by your district administrator. And typically that's your superintendent that's doing that. And then at the end of the year, you'll do the same thing, but at that time, you're submitting all the data for the whole school year. And we recommend that you look through verification reports and then have them submit that because basically the district administrator is saying, yes, all our reports look good, everything is finalized, and we're good to go. FERPA is important. So if you haven't taken a FERPA or don't know what FERPA is, Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, it's very good to be familiar with all that so you know that you are sharing the information with the right people. Um, Sometimes I have learned when I was working in the districts, we have people that are receiving information that shouldn't be receiving information, and it's like, why? And they're like, oh, just because I have access to it. But why do you have access to it? So you need to make sure that the appropriate people have the right access to the right information that they need and not too much access. Now, NDE did have a great presentation on FERPA, and these links will take you to the conferences, and there's public YouTube videos where you can watch that and learn information about FERPA if you're not familiar or haven't done a training on it recently. Okay, the joy of the portal. So, yes, it's been an interesting couple months because we are in this middle of the transition. So, what I'm going to recommend is that you need to bookmark the splash page, which is what we have pictured here, which is that portal.education.ne.gov. Please do not bookmark like specific ones to the legacy or the new portal because especially the new portal, the URL is updating on a regular basis. And if you have it bookmarked, it won't work. So you will always get the accurate bookmark or accurate URL when you bookmark the splash page. That's what we call this, the splash page. And I personally have caught myself a couple times and had to learn the hard way. So that's why I'm telling you, please bookmark the splash page. And the other thing that we have that's going to be very helpful is down here, we have this, which portal do I use? I don't know if this, it's not going to let me. She has a link in it in another spot. But right down here, this is a hot link, and it's going to open a spreadsheet of which portal that we're going to use. And we have that discussed further in this presentation. So I will not spend a lot of time on it right now. Oh, I clicked on that. There we go. So why did we get a new portal? Well, what was happening is our legacy portal. If you have been in our legacy portal and you've been in our new portal, you will to see that there is a big difference in technology, and we needed to update our technology. We had collections that weren't working due to our technology because it was too old. So we had to move forward to get updated. Another reason is that we needed it to be more secure. Talking about FERPA and family rights and secure, right? So we needed to figure out a different way to make it more secure for districts. So we have worked with the Nebraska ESUCCC, which is the Nebraska Cloud System, and we are using the single sign-on. That's the most secure and the best way to get into the new portal. Because when somebody leaves the district, then an Active Directory, that email is canceled basically, and then they can't get into the new portal. So your information is secure. You don't have to worry about removing them access. We do have other ways if we don't have school systems that don't have the Nebraska cloud system. We do have other ways that they can log in. It's still more secure than what we have currently. And then we also have easier management of applications. We got rid of the activation codes. You guys are new data stewards, but you probably are still in the legacy, so you still had the hassle with the activation codes. This is going to be easier to get your applications. We also have a change in terminology. So we went from legacy, we call them everything collections, and in the new portal, we're calling them applications now. We also created the ability to have a district admin and a proxy because we knew people were sharing logins and passwords. So now we can have a district admin and they can assign maybe the data steward, like they'll have the same rights as a district admin. So there's basically two people that can review the request or two people that it can work on submitting information. There is a couple things that the proxy can't do, but pretty much it's the same thing. And then we've also created roles. So we're working on creating different types of roles. And one of them is data steward. And we have attached a bunch of applications that we believe data stewards will be using. And so when you have that role, you don't have to request for an application. It should just automatically populate. So when it gets pushed over into or transitions over into the new portal, it will just show up if it's on your role. Or you can just apply for single applications. We have some people that are just in the portal for just the advisor person ID, like a secretary. So then they would just have the one application because they don't need the role of a data steward to have everything because we don't want them to see all those applications. And I'm going to tell you that we are transitioning a lot quicker than I anticipated. So especially the school year, we are pushing out a lot more new applications to the new portal than I thought. So that spreadsheet will be important. Oh, and then she kind of broke down the multi-app roles. Here's our examples. A data steward one is one I talked about because it seems more applicable during this presentation, but we have a variety of them. And then we have a couple slides that are going to go over how to sign in. Now, does everybody already have signed into a new portal account?
Yes.
Yes, yes. I'm assuming so. Yeah. Okay. Um, we're just going to kind of touch base on it for the presentation in case we decide to record or share it. But the ESU CCC sign on is the big blue click here button. And like I said, it's the easiest way and more secure. We recommend everybody that is with the ESUCC Nebraska Cloud to use that. So when you click here, it's going to give you this next page of where you would select your school system. And then you would select your school system. And then the next few pages look different for everybody depending on your school system. Um, some districts get this page twice because that's how their school system is utilizing their landing page. But it looks different and you have to use your school credentials. We cannot help you with your school credentials because we don't know what that is. We have learned that every school uses a different type of school credential system. Some people use full emails, some people use partial emails, some people just use a few letters. So it's very different. And so we're just not able to help um, with that portion. But that was how you get started on that. The benefit with doing the SSO is that it will automatically assign you your education organization when you create your account. So when I sign in with Nebraska Department of Education, it sees that email and it says, oh, Stacy's at Nebraska Department of Education. So that's her educational organization and it automatically assigns it. Now, if you're not with ESU, then we have the other ways of where there's a smallest statement says we click here, and you would click on that, and then you can sign up for your new ND portal account by following those prompts. And then when you come back in, if you want to choose to use Google or Microsoft, you can have those options, or you could create it with an email password. Here's a screenshot where I said when you use the SSO that we recommend, you get your automatic education organization. So it automatically shows up. If you are not going through that way, you will not have that. And you'll have a message that says you need an educational organization and you have to request it. So that is some SSOs are, or some non-publics are with ESUCC. Um, and so that's what this one is talking about, is that you'll still have to request your educational organization. And this is the same screen if you're not on the SSO. Okay, so on the home page, once you have got into your account, you will see and have been assigned your education organization. And if you've already been signed, so some superintendents have already gone through and created accounts for people, and then they got an email and said, here, go in and sign into your account. Um, then you already had some applications assigned to you, and those all start populating on your home page. And then your tiles are just going to continue building on the home page. And then on the profile page, you have your information, you have your preferences, you have your applications, and you have your requests. We recommend for you to complete your information so that information can be shared. In the contact section, it will be shared with others. So it's good to fill that contact profile page out. Preferences is basically if you want your favorites to show or not. And then application. Oh, I think also in the preferences, you can put a description on the tiles. So if you want the description to show what the collection's about, you can have that in there so it can toggle it on or off. And then the applications is a list of what you have access to. I can see more people just living on the homepage, and that's where you're going to launch the apps and everything. And the request is where you're going to actually make those requests. So once you make those requests, it's your local superintendent or your local district admin that is going to review the request and approve the request. NDE does not have the responsibility for that, so we cannot do that for you. And here is a picture of the request section. So the required fields are the educational organization. So whatever educational organization you want to request, it's going to show the entire school systems for the state of Nebraska. So you would need to select your school for advisor person ID, but let's say you are at an ESU and you want to work with another school district, you would have to select that specific school district. And then the application is optional. You don't have to put anything in there. Um, but if you do put an application in there, then it's going to reduce your roles list and it will pull at the roles list that is just specific to that application. If you leave the application blank, then your roles list is extremely long, and you can select a variety of different roles. So the two required fields are educational organization and the roles list. The request reason, if you are a large district and you're not for sure if everybody realizes that you use advisor person ID or whatever, you can put your reasoning in there to explain, hey, when I fill out this report, I always use this advisor person ID. And so I'd like to have access to it just so that they're aware. And then you can submit that because sometimes our administration is not aware to everything that we have access or need for our jobs. So it's not required, but if you want to help, I've worked with some people where they've got denied and they're like, why did they deny me? Well, they didn't understand what you did for your job. So just go and back and have a conversation with them.
Is there a recommendation as for data stewards on which of the roles list we should request?
So if you are a data steward and you feel like you're going to be doing like a lot of that, when we get to the which portal, like that spreadsheet, I don't know where it's coming up. When we,
I have it, yeah.
okay. So on that spreadsheet, it shows like what roles we've already
Mm,
attached things to. And you can kind of review that and be like, oh yeah, I'll need that. Oh yeah, that's
okay.
attached. Oh yeah. Okay, so maybe I do need the data steward role
Mhm.
because that is attached to a lot of things,
Got
right?
it. Okay.
Yep.
And right now is like I don't see data steward on the roles list. Is that
Are you already assigned the data steward?
maybe how would I see that?
You could go in your like um, applications and see on your application screen and see in the profile and
Oh,
applications
I
and see.
am. Okay, that's why.
Yep, yep.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good questions. Good questions. Is there any other ones over that section before because I just keep plowing away. It's a long presentation and I want to give you some work time. So, okay. So the resources tab, or not tab, the page is just that. We're trying to pull a bunch of links off of our website that we refer you to or people use so that you can just have one spot that you can be like, is it in the resources? I need the advisor data elements. And I can just click that link. It is going to pull up the website for NDE and show you where it's at, but it's a direct link to it. So you don't have to go to our website and keep searching for things. It's just a direct link. And we have a variety of different topics, and we're building this. So if you find something that you're like, oh, I can never find this on NDE, I wonder if they'd put a straight link to it on the resource page. Let us know, and we will build that for you. This is where the contacts that I was talking about. So we have three different tabs. The first tab is My District Admin, and that's going to show you who your district admin is for your school system. So if you're not for sure who that is, it's going to show you the name of that person. As a data steward, sometimes we need to work with other school systems and we don't know who the admin is for the other schools. Like we can click on the all admins and it's going to show us a list for all the school systems in the state of Nebraska. And you can find their contact information. You could send them an email and say, hey, you know, um, I have a student that transferred there. I see you guys are using this ID. We have this ID. I think we've created a duplicate ID or something like that, right? Or we need to communicate with them. So that is a great way for contact information. And then you have my organization. And the my organization is it's like, okay, I need my counselor to look at something. Does she even have a portal account?
Mm,
Hmm. So I can go on my organization and I can say, oh, she does have a portal account. And I'll just go ask her if she has access to this, right? And see if she can help me out or if we can work as a team. So it just shows you people that are in your organization that have portal accounts and maybe you can work as a team. Or maybe you need to get somebody a portal account. You're like, they don't have one. Let's get them into the portal. So here's here's my hot link that I've been trying to get to. It is that resource that I wanted to show you. Which portal do I use? And it has the collection names. We have over 90 some collections that are being rewritten and they're slowly moving into the new portal. This will probably take a transition of 1 to 2 years, but it's going to be happening throughout the next couple of years. And so this resource is going to be very important for you to know. Okay, I need to fill out the annual financial report. Where is that located? Okay, it's located in the legacy portal. Okay, I need to go into that portal. Advisor validation is still in the legacy portal, but I can already see that they've already decided that they're going to assign that to the data steward role. They're going to assign it to the SPED director role. They're going to assign it to the DAC role. And they're going to put the systems on it. So they are already starting to make decisions about the legacy portal and what roles they're going to be adding them to. Where the advisor person ID is already in the new portal and it's already attached to these roles. So that spreadsheet I feel like is very important and we try to keep that updated as much as possible. Oh, great. I didn't realize I was going to lose my spot. Okay. Sorry about that. Where'd it go? Not there. There we go. Okay. So that is very very useful. So then we go into the legacy portal. So if you haven't created your legacy portal, you're still going to need that, especially if you're in charge of the student data advisor validation is in the legacy portal and will probably be there for a little while. You'll need to register for your own NDE portal account. We do not recommending of sharing of accounts. Every person needs to have their own account. It doesn't belong to the school. So if you came from another school district and you already had a legacy portal account, you can, if you know the login and the password, you can log in, change your email, update your email information in the no, not my profile tab. And then you can remove the collections from the old school system because they probably haven't done that. That's one thing that we noticed because this is individually for you. And then you can get new activation codes for the collections that you need for your new school code or for your new school. If you're brand new, then you would sign up with the register. If you forget your password, then we recommend if your email is accurate on the account to use the forgot password. Some tips and tricks with creating your account. Make sure you follow the phone number format accurately, review the character and password requirements, and look at the non-acceptable characters. If you have any error, it pretends that it creates account, but it doesn't create account. So
Oh,
you
good.
really make sure that you follow those guidelines to create the account. You will know when you create the account because the next screen will be in the Legacy NDE portal. Um, we have the help tab in the legacy portal, which will give you very detailed information about the activation codes. Um, it will give you detailed information about setting up the portal accounts and the district administrator responsibilities. And that help tab will populate even if you're not signed into your account. You can just click on that tab and it will pull up help information for you. When you are logged into your portal, you probably will live in these three main tabs. So they have the data collection tab, which has a lot of different collections in it. And one of the main ones is the CDC. And when we're going to go into a little more in depth in that in this presentation, so I'm not going to take a go off trail here. And the student and staff one is they used to call it NSSRS. So if you've been working with people that have been around for 30 plus years, they will still say NSSRS validation or NRSSS advisor, student number, things like that. But advisor validation came I don't know, I've been doing it for like 10 years. It's been around for at least that long. So you'll find that in there, and then you'll find staff reporting. Bless you. And then my profile, that's where you would update your email and your phone number. If you have changed the school district, that's where you would go in there and update that information. So the legacy portal, it works with activation codes. You have to have an activation code to get into a lot of the different collections to have access. You have to get that from your administrator. Some collections you need multiple activation codes depending on what you want to view and how to view it. And NDE does not pass out those activation codes. So if you can email us, and I will refer you back to your local administrator to get those. So there's two sections on the legacy portal. We have an available section, which means that is in your account. You can click on the title of that. It's blue and you have access to that application. Then we have an online section, which just means these collections are in the portal and some of them are available and some of them are not. So as in the screenshot, there's a bunch of them that are closed, and then the annual financial report is available, and you would click that add button, and then you would copy and paste that into the next screen to I should say copy and paste your activation code into the next screen and click add. And then when you come back, that collection should move up to the available section with a blue link showing that you have added it to your account. Okay, so the data collections. We have the CDC, which is a major one. We have the counselor and library media not endorsed. This that ha I should say the CDC is a big selection of lots of different collections. It's a lot. And then the counselor is an independent one, and that just talks about what are we collecting in that? Um, People that are in that role but not endorsed. So basically, where they're at in their education to be endorsed to be in that role. And then the teacher vacancy survey gathers data on where you're missing teachers, basically. And then there's a whole lot in there. Okay, so CDC. What we know about CDC is that it is going away. We are taking all those tiny little collections, there's a wide variety of them, and we're rewriting them, and they're going to be their own new application in the new portal. So that's taking some time to do that. The CDC will not exist in the new portal because it's just going to go away. We're just going to have everything in their own application and that way people can see what they need to see per their role. But when you are in the legacy, we do have several collections still in the CDC because this is going to be a slow process and it'll probably take about a year or two for them to get all rewritten. Um, we have a list of them. So your home button's always going to bring you back to the main page of the CDC page. And then it will target kind of on this left side. We got the home button, then we have your user ID. And then if you have access to a variety of different districts, it's going to show you the current district that you're looking at. And then if you have been around for a while and you have several access to several years worth of data, you will see the current school year. And if you need to change, um, let's say you want to look at a different district, uh, I will select the change district and submit, and then you can select the different districts. So some people have access to like 4 or 5 districts, and then you can do that. And then it will change your current district into another district name. You can draw, click the caret down and it will give you option to change your school year. So if you wanted to look at a previous school year, you could change your school year and then look at that information in there. So that is that, our tabs. And then we have different kinds of tabs to view previous data. The one tab that I never utilize, which I don't know why, but click for instructions. A lot of the applications have click for instructions, there's a tab right in there that will take you to those specific collections and those instructions for the um, collection. And then view calendar uh, will show you the CDC calendar and give you dates of when it's open and closed and when it's due date. And then we have the open and the close section. And then the CDC, again, has a lot of different types of activation codes. So depending on what you need to see and what you need to do will depend on what category that you would need. Some people just need the general. Some people need the staff and the general. So kind of have to visit with your local administrator to decide which actual codes you need for the reports that you need to complete. And when you get in there, the submit button, anybody can with access can submit the data, but only the district administrator can approve the data. So you have to have the approver activation code, which is only the district administrator that can have that access on their phone. So, or on their phone, on their account. And so they're the only ones that can approve it. Okay, so Legacy Portal. Is there any questions on that? It was a lot. Okay. Legacy Portal, student and staff NSRS basically is what it's called. And it has I'd say it has advisor validation, NDE staff ID, NSRS validation, staff reporting. So those are the four main things that it has right now. Advisor person ID has already moved to the new portal. So you will not see that. Well, you'll see it say closed, I think is what you'll see right now, but it's available. And we can only have the applications in one spot. So it's in the new portal. So advisor. The big fancy name for advisor is Advanced Data Views Improving Student Educational Response. The tongue twister, I have to say it very slow. So we have advisor person ID, which is what every student that's attending a school system needs to have an ID. And that's where you will create them, you will update them, and you will manage them. And that's all in the new portal. And then advisor validation is just the student data from the public and the special purposes schools, which is in the legacy portal. So right now you're going to be, as a data steward, you're going to have basically, if I were you, I have a browser open with the validation and I have a browser open with the person ID, like, like a new portal, legacy portal, or two screens, depending on how you work. But so new portal is for advisor person ID. If you don't have access to it already, you only need to have um, either a role, which has advisor person ID already attached to it, or you need a single app role, which is like you either need the district one, which means I can edit it, I can and read it. Or some people are like, no, I'm a secretary, I just need to read it. I just need to be able to grab that person ID and I just need to grab it and just put it in the sys. So I don't need to make any edits. So then they would only need read only. So you only need one or the other. If you do single app rules, you don't need both. You just need one or the other. Yes, Jen.
Um, I feel like this is a super basic question, but I'm having a hard time understanding the difference between data collection, like CDC, and advisor.
Okay. So CDC has a multiple collections in there, and some of them gather student data, some of them gather like financial data. Some of it is just specific to non-publics, like public schools don't even look at it. So there's different types of reports that they are not able to get the information out of advisor.
Okay,
Like
so the
the
CDC is pulling from our SIS.
CDC is not.
Where is it pulling from?
It's information you have to input.
Okay, so CDC is information that we as a district have to input.
Yep.
Okay.
Good clarification. So advisor validation, that is getting information from your SIS.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping. That was a great question. Okay. So this is advisor person ID. I'm making an assumption that everybody already has access to it at this point in the year because of direct cert and things like that, and assessment team, and it's September already. So, um, but I am going to go over it. We do have all the students every year need to be updated. So every student in your district should be uploaded into the school advisor person ID to reflect the 25-26 enrollment. Should have a record on hand. The information can be entered either online or with a file upload. A lot of you are public school districts and probably have working with Assist, and they have um, downloadable files out of the SIS that you can download and upload this information into Person ID. Um, we do, if you find a duplicate ID, we want to know, the service desk wants to know about that right away. Or somebody that has accidentally sharing IDs, we need to know that so that we can start a review and get that all straightened out, because it's very important for one student to have one ID and not to be shared with others. So this is a picture of how you would enter it online. You just go to assign, enter online. Anything with a little star behind it is a required field. I recommend to put the preferred name and the preferred last name in it too. It's not a required field, but we do have students, especially when we're doing duplicate reviews. We do have students that have different names. Let's use Kim Powell. Maybe her full name is Kimberly, but she goes by Kim. She prefers to go by Kim. So her legal name in here might be Kimberly, but then her preferred name would be Kim. So when it helps for us when we're doing reviews and other people. We have people throughout the NDE department that go into advisor person ID to try to figure out the history or the story of a student. And so that will also help them. You could also do a file upload if you prefer to do a file upload. We have on the advisor resources site, um, you can get the resources in the advisor person ID section here. We have the newest guide that will give you all the file templates, guidelines for each column and what is required. In Appendix B, I believe it is. We have the template there, and then we do have a presentation that you can go through that too. Okay, let me see. Here we go. So the next part is advisor validation, which you guys are hot and heavy in. And I do want to say, I should have said this earlier, but we are starting a new thing called Coffee Hour, Brewing with Confidence, for new data stewards, and Advisor 101 is going to be what we're going to talk about in November. Just kind of going over the basics of advisor, and have a good conversation about advisor. So I'm just going to put in a little plug with that, and I can share the link with that in the chat after this. But advisor validation is where your student information is synced into advisor. Advisor is not going out to your system to grab it. It is your system is talking to us. So some people have that set up on a nightly time, like it syncs every night and sends us information. Some people just do it on a quarterly basis. Some people just have it a manual push. So each system does it differently. Those are the systems, those are the student information system vendors that we currently are working with. SRS is not a student information system, it's just for special education, but it does talk to um, Power School or Power School. Sorry, Power School is my old SIS um, that I used to work with. So every once in a while that comes out. It does talk to advisor. So what we are doing is there's multiple activation codes again for advisor validation. So if you need to see all the verification reports, if you're somebody that needs to look at everything, then you're going to need to get all four of these activation codes and have them on your account. If you only need to look at the district information and just the special education, then you would only need that. Now, the best way to know if you can see everything is when you go to the verification reports, and we have a slide on that. So advisor validation is where the data uh, is being evaluated, basically. So it will show us errors and warnings. We have a whole section that says, you know, this is errors and it doesn't make sense. We have verification reports. We have enrollment and student and program lookups. And honestly, I did not use the enrollment and the student program lookups as much when I was a data steward, and I wish I would have been more familiar with them. It would have made my life a lot easier. So I do encourage you to learn and use those lookups. And then we have an advisor validation guide um, that will go over some resources here. So we have some advisor validation quick reference guide. We have ERA helps. This help site right here will talk about all the different advisor errors that we have. We have not got all the errors in there, but we have all the critical errors and their articles. And the articles will break down. Let's just grab one here. The articles will break down the error, tell us the details, and then it'll give you a fix. So we are working hard on trying to get that all updated. We have new ones in there, all the critical ones in there, and up to like 700. So we are fast and furious working on that to get that updated. Then we have, let's see, here we go. We have the advisor validation homepage, and there is two menus. And again, when I was a data steward, I did not utilize the hamburger menu, and I started doing that more now at NDE. And I was like, this makes my life a lot easier, where I don't have to go back to the homepage to get to the advisor validation menu. The hamburger one has a menu on here, and you can quickly jump from one screen to another screen. And also on the hamburger menu, it will give you a contact tab, which you can click on that and it will take you directly into a ticket and you can directly email us just straight from advisor validation. So that's a quick and easy way and say, hey, I have a question on error 500. I don't understand what's happening. And you can send us a ticket straight from there. So here's a screen for the advisor validation errors and warnings. You have both menus will take you there. To review the errors, you'll see this, and it'll come with different domains and show you different domains. If you don't have any errors in that domain, it won't populate. If you have errors, it will uh, give you the numbers. I'm trying to see if yep, there we go. Thought maybe I was ahead of myself. Here is where you get into the domain and then it shows a specific error. And then you have to click on the error count or the warning, whatever the blue link is for the number. And when you click on the number, then it will give you more detailed information. She doesn't have that screen looks like. It will give you like the information about the student, and it will give you the student number, and it'll give you some detailed information about that specific error and what's going on. And it'll also give you a description of the error. So different types of errors. We have the critical errors, which really you need to look at that. That means there is something wrong and we need to resolve it. Errors are we need to look and there could be a fix and we need to fix it if we can. Warnings are like, hey, I don't know if this makes sense. Oh, you have another question, Jen? No. Okay. Um,
No, sorry, somebody just walked in.
no problem. I understand. A warning is if, hey, there is um something doesn't make sense here. Can you just like check it out? And if you check it out and it does make sense, you can go ahead and leave comments in it so that people at the NDE know that you have reviewed it and that it is the way it's supposed to be. And then there's some information notices, which again is just a review. Maybe you could leave it at the same. Maybe you need to fix it. And then here's a link in the presentation to that help site that I just already showed you. In the errors, you can reprocess that whole domain. So you can just click on it and it will reprocess. This is a special education domain. So you can, let's say you fixed the error and you want to reprocess the error, so you can do that. And then you can see if it was resolved and do that. Or you can hit the back button and it should take you back to the list of errors. Oh, here's the screenshot I was looking for. When you click on the number, then this is the specific information about the error. So we have the detailed, and then we have student information there.
I missed, how can you tell if it's a critical error versus just a regular error?
So right here on the top of it, it says critical error.
So you click in.
Yeah, you have to click in it to see it.
And then if there is a critical error, it will say, because we only have errors in one spot because we're not reporting it yet.
Okay.
So if I
Another,
click in and there's no critical error, then I just won't see that.
right, right. It
Okay.
will only show you if you have errors. And if
Okay.
you like if you click on the error summary, so sometimes I use this a lot. Um, and I'll be like, I don't understand, or somebody will say, I have an error 500. Well, I don't remember where error 500 is. So I'll use the error summary, type in 500, and it will tell me information like, is it a critical error, the description of the error, and the domain. So the error summary can be very helpful too when you're having conversation or somebody emails you or whatever. Because sometimes you have other um, staff members that are in advisor validation and they want to try to fix something. And then this is a way that you can do that. Hi, Kim. Okay, sorry about that interruption. All right. Now it's going to take me a minute to critical errors. Okay, so we were talking about error summary. So that's a good resource too that it can be utilized. So then we have the validation lookups. So we have enrollment lookup by ID. So if you have the ID for a student, um, you can put it in here and you can see the whole enrollment history of the student. So it will show all the schools that the student has been attending and everything. It's going to show everything, not just your school information. It's going to show everything. So you can see the history, the enrollment history of that. If you trying to see where she okay. So okay, there we go. I'm like, wait a minute. So here's the student enrollment. I get these two confused. This is just going to show you enrollment history through the entire Nebraska public school system and special purpose. So if they've been enrolled in some kind of school system, not the non-public, it's not going to show you non-public, it's just going to show you public and special purpose, and it's going to show you that enrollment history. Then if you want to look at specific, I want to see exactly how we reported this student. This student reported, we had this student in 23-24, and I want to look at how the SPED record was reported. I would go in the student lookup by ID. I would be in my district. I would change my school year to that appropriate school year that I want to look. So in my example, it was 23-24. I would change that. And when you change your school year, you must change it and then hit select or it won't update. It'll keep you in the current year. And then you can go in and put in the person ID, and then it's going to pull up all the information that you reported for that student in that specific year. It's great for problem solving, even for this school year. So you can say, okay, well, there's this error. My SIS shows that that information is right. Why is it not showing right in Advisor? I go to the student lookup information and I put in the ID and I look for that information. So let's use SPED because SPED errors show up. I know in SRS there's a SPED record, but why is it having a SPED record or SPED error? Well, when I go in the student lookup, I see that there's no special education record sent to advisor. So then you know, okay, I got to figure out there's a issue with SRS talking to advisor, right? So then you can work on trying to resolve the connection. And that will show you if the information's actually been reported to advisor or if it has not been reported to advisor. So student information or student lookup by ID is very, very helpful. And I can tell you that us girls at the service desk, we are in there all the time, and that's how we problem solve a lot of information. Okay, so advisor person or advisor validation, and I notice that the name is wrong. But when I look at my SIS, it's right. Well, that's because it's not coming from your SIS. So the first, last name and the date of birth is coming from your advisor person ID. Again, another reason why we want you to update that information in advisor person ID. So that actually what happens is advisor validation goes to advisor person ID and it looks for the student's preferred first name, student preferred last name, and student's date of birth. And then if those are like the preferred first name and preferred last name is empty, then they will go back and look for the first name, middle name, student last name, and the student I can't say that word, but like the juniors or whatever that is. Um, and it's getting that information. So if you see it's wrong in advisor validation or it's wrong in your assessment and that information is being pulled from validation, you need to go into person ID to correct all those issues. And then we have the advisor data elements, and that is where I live because I can't remember all the fields for everything. It's updated every year. We have lots of different um, information here. It has every um, field in advisor validation that needs to be reviewed or sent in. And so you can get descriptions on them and you can find exactly what that all means. And we refer you back to this a lot. There's a new one every year, and I know for sure the SPED codes have changed. Okay, so data elements. Then we have the verification reports, which is we recommend that you look at these on a regular basis. Um, Personally, as a data steward, I met with my other person that worked on state reporting, and we would sit down and go through a variety of different reports and advisor and on a monthly basis to make sure our data was up to date. And that way, at the end of the year, we didn't have to scramble a lot because we were fixing things as we went throughout the school year. Usually, first semester, there was a lot of stuff for us to do. But then when we got to the second semester, it was pretty easy because we had corrected everything at the beginning of the school year. And so there was not that much for us to do at the end of the school year. So, student verification reports are a great place to utilize and we have recommendations of when you should look at the reports. So like fall and year end, um, attendance is huge. I recommend to do that on a regular basis, like every month, look at that. But you will have to have specific codes. So you got to make sure that you have the right activation codes. And the way you know that is if this is, as I point to my screen that you can't see, but if these are blue, you have access to them. That means that you can look at that. If these are not blue, that means you don't have the right activation codes. And so she doesn't have a screenshot, but there's another column called roles, and it will show you what kind of roles you need. And so maybe you're missing the sped one, or maybe you're missing the free and reduced. Depending on the data that you have to look at, you might need those rules. We also have reports that you can print off, like a spreadsheet that you can report. We update every follow-up time. We have one for follow-up, and then we have one for end year end and things like that. You can use that and use the spreadsheet too. So we're almost done. Advisor validation has the district sign off, and basically what the district admin is saying is that I approve that all those verification reports are accurate. And then there's a whole bunch of other insurance statements that they have to say that they agree to. We have a link to the approval process if you need to help your, where is that? Right here. Uh, if you need to help your district admin or if you need to send them a PDF and say, here are the steps, this is how you do it, then there's that resource for you. The district sign off is only available for like a short period of time. Like end of the year was only available for 2 weeks. And then like this follow-up one will only probably be available for a week. Here are some other resources that you can use. Advisor resource page. I would bookmark this one. It has all different types of resources. The ones that she has listed, I'm going to tell you, are ones that we utilize a lot. I send out links to the advisor calendar a lot, the data elements. If you have students that are very involved, who reports what, is going to show a lot of different student information, situations. That's what I'm looking. And then we got systems involved student reporting. That's going to show a lot of different student situations too, where you can look and say, okay, how should I report this student? And then we have course codes. And then we have program information too, where you want to look like maybe different early childhood program. We have a PDF that will show you that information. And then maybe you just need to look up a district's code and you don't have that in your SIS, then we have a list of all that too. Okay, staff reporting. If you are responsible for staff reporting, the due date is September 15th. That's when the state law says that you have to have it completed, but it needs to be definitely completed by October 31st. And excuse me, I don't have my glass of water here. I apologize. October 31st, and then the end of the year is when it's actually closed. So it's open all year for you to make information, but as of October 31st, we start pulling information out of the staff reporting. So November 1st, we're going to start pulling data out of it and we're going to start using it. And she has a link to the Workday website. We just had a Workday for staff reporting. Basically, what we do in the staff reporting is we're collecting the demographics and the position assignment. You have to have a new activation code every year because it's a new report every year, so you have to have that. What happens is that we take the 24-25 information and we roll it into the 25-26. So it's pre-populated with that staff information, but you need to update it. Maybe you need to remove or add people. So you would need to do that, and you can do that on an individual basis or file upload depending on your comfort level. Here's a screenshot of how you would do it just individually, updating that information. Here's a file upload. One thing I am going to say about the file upload, it's very, very specific. You need to make sure that you have all the fields appropriately. The title of it has to be very specific or it won't upload. There is in the staff guide appendix E, I think, E or F, that gives you a step-by-step on what is required in each field. So it's very specific, just like the advisor person ID one. Staff reporting has 3 steps. So the first thing is you're going to put your information in the staff reporting collection. And then once you have run all the validations in there, basically it's saying, okay, you have the information, it looks accurate, it's put in right. But it doesn't look for errors. So then you have to go to the NSSRS validation, and you will need an activation code to put this on your account. It will sync with staff reporting on a nightly basis, and it will look for things that don't look right. So then you have to go and look at the validations, look at your errors, and then you go back to your staff reporting and you need to fix it. Maybe very common ones, there's email addresses missing. Maybe the salary's missing, things like that. So it's looking for those type of errors. Then the next step after that is that we're going to run verification reports. So in the validation, there's a section with verification reports, and then you can review your data and make sure that it is accurate. The staff reporting for the GMS data consolidated application, it's a very long report. Please review that. Make sure that that looks right because you don't want to be doing that at the end of the school year, trying to get that all resolved. Sometimes it takes several weeks to get an issue resolved because it might be a certificate expiring. It might be somebody didn't turn in a form or things like that. So it could take weeks to months to get some issues resolved. So I really recommend to look at that very soon. The NDE staff ID is where you're going to create or find the staff IDs to put into the staff reporting. So you can't put a new person in unless you have the staff ID. And so you would find that in the NDE staff ID. And sometimes, well, actually not sometimes, if we have what's happening a lot now is we have paras that are being reported and they have an NDE staff ID, but on their record, they don't have a social security number. Then they go and they apply for a sub certificate. And so the teach system goes into NDE staff ID looking for this person, but there's no social security number. So it creates them a new ID. So now this para who has a sub certificate now has 2 staff IDs. So we recommend that you add the social security number. So when the teach system is looking for a person, it will find the social security number and not create a duplicate. If a duplicate is created, you need to send a ticket into our service desk and we need to go through the whole process. And again, that could take up to several weeks for that to be resolved. All right, so here are the resources. A lot of them we have already talked about. The NDE bulletin. Here's a little more in depth on how to subscribe to that and the link. Here is the NDE portal website. It talks about the old portal and the new portal. We have updating training docs, FAQs, splash page, things like that. Then there's our website that will give you the NDE website with a lot of lots and lots of resources that you can find on there. And then, of course, there's us, and we're more than happy to answer you. We answer them in the order of received, and we will get to you as soon as we can. If it is a question about your CIS, we are not able to help you with that. We will probably recommend you to contact your CIS support um, with those kind of issues. And then watch for the bulletins. We have work days. We have the brewing with confidence. I said I was going to pull that up for you. So let's see if I can find that here. Um, there it is. Here's the link for that. I will find my chat and yeah, I sent that link to you. So this is kind of just like a coffee hour where we can just kind of talk and have conversation. We do have a presentation um, and uh, visit about whatever the pain points are, maybe. Um, so that is, and then the last one is just thanks for coming. Thanks for spending your time with me. I know that took an hour, probably about uh, from work time, but do you guys have any further questions?